Welcome to Toffee TV. It is live at 5. We are both in our homes because we're not allowed in our studio. So, that's just the way it is. And Baz isn't even allowed out of his house, never mind in our studio.
Well, bit unfair, I think.
It's,
Through no fault of my own,
You're helping not to spread the disease.
Yeah,
That's the main thing.
there is that.
That's the main
There is
thing,
that.
isn't it, really?
Exactly, mate.
So, 2 hours and 45 minutes till kick-off. How are you feeling about this game? Because it's quite an important game, isn't it? Really now.
I'm a bit. I'm a little bit not nervous, but there's a little bit of trepidation in me today. Obviously, because let's be honest, it's the first real test that we've had in the competition, isn't it? I know with no disrespect towards Salford City or towards Fleetwood Town, we were expecting to beat both of those teams. Tonight's a bit of a different. I mean, not that I'm not expecting to win, but I just mean this will be a tough game for us. So there's a little bit more of an edge to it than the previous 2 rounds. And obviously, as you go further, you can see, 3 games from Wembley or whatever. So it's but saying that, it's an opportunity, isn't it, for us? We're at home, we're playing well. It's an opportunity to get into the quarter-final.
Yeah, it just feels like that. I think it depends what the teams are. I think we said this in the preview, didn't we? It depends what the teams are as well. Whether we go full strength, whether they go full strength. And then
I think we'll go strong.
Yeah, I do. And then the circumstances, obviously no one in the ground, and don't get me wrong, I'm confident. It's just that you're just thinking, get through this one tonight, and suddenly things open up. Don't think there's any midweek games for a couple of months, and you can leave that to the side. You're through. You're in the quarterfinals. Obviously that's where we got to last season. You just think, just do it tonight. Just get through, and then we move on with our season nicely.
Yeah, if we can we've said it before, haven't we? If we can get past this, then it's, I know waiting at the weekend, but then it's 1 game a week till December then, and you can manage the squad. Well, you can manage the squad fitness-wise much better doing it that way, and make sure that, come Saturday, in general, you're 100%. So it's an opportunity. We said the other day, didn't we, when we were talking, if this was a Premier League game, we just expect a full strength team, and we'd have a game at the weekend. You know what I mean? So even if he does, and I think he will go strong tonight. It is a great opportunity for us to get into the next round. It'll be tough, of course it will, but it's an opportunity, and we'd rather be playing at home than away. So let's get out there and do it.
Yeah, Paul Cattrall says, I'd be going full strength tonight, 2 games and then a break. Massive game as well tonight. Would love nothing more than a cup win. Which is right, and like you just said, it was a Premier League game. You'd have no option. You'd have to play as close to your strongest team as you could, barring injuries and fatigue. I'm sure there'll be a couple, maybe for players who are feeling it a little bit, or the manager wants to keep them as fresh as they can. Hamas Rodriguez, I'd imagine, probably won't be. Be interesting to see actually whether he's on the bench tonight, because obviously he hasn't been on the bench for the last 2 games, but it is a Premier League game. Whether he says, if he's not starting, whether he goes, you'll be on the bench just in case we need you. That'll be interesting.
Definitely. I think there'll be, 8 of the team that started on Saturday will play, and maybe he will be one who misses out, as in terms of being on the bench. I can see potentially John Joe playing. I can see Nkunku playing, and maybe Delph as well. So maybe like 7 or 8 from Saturday would start with those additions. But we'll know, won't we, in hour and 45, something like that.
Hour and 40 minutes,
Yeah. So to be interesting. Eugene McGeever says Everton make inquiry for Norwich defender Ben Godfrey. Well, this is something we've been talking about for a couple of days now, isn't it? Seeing today Everton pursuing or inquiring about Godfrey. It's out now. Trying to get him maybe a loan with a obligation to buy next summer. That'd be interesting if Norwich were interested in that kind of deal, because it'd give him a year to settle as well before you're paying. And he's a lad who is quite flexible, can play in a number of positions, quick, strong. And I think I said yesterday, negates the fear that if we lose one or two of our midfielders, we've got nothing like them, because obviously very similar to Mason.
So he
can play.
He's primarily centre back, isn't he?
He is, but he's played defensive midfield as well.
Okay.
And he can play with both. Strong, he's quick. Premier League experience as well. So, and a good age, 22. But whether or not, I don't think Norwich won 20 to 25 minutes. Whether or not Everton will pay that, I don't think, for him. Whether or not we can do a deal with Norwich regarding that will be an interesting one. But he would, I think he'd make Everton the right kind of signing, because if we're talking about, we've mentioned it a few times, Carlo Ancelotti wanting to just have a smaller squad. The more players you've got who are versatile, who can fill in, means that you can carry less players because they're capable of doing 2 or 3 jobs. So he's an interesting one, I think.
If we could get him in, would you do any?
Yeah.
Would you look to maybe move Branthwaite somewhere on loan, or even somewhere like Norwich, and say to Norwich, make him part of the deal? You can have him on loan for a season or maybe 2 seasons. I don't know, just to add something to the deal.
I mean, that is an interesting one, because then straight away he'd be going in and playing at a higher level. I know he's played 4 Premier League games, and all that, but in general, he's League 2 was where he played most of his games. So you're going into the Championship, which is tough for him. Well, I think that'd be an interesting one. He's obviously injured at the minute, so they'd have to take him. But then again,
he should be back after the international break, shouldn't he?
Well, he should be. And yesterday on the live, we were, a few people had clarified the transfer window. Now, I thought we couldn't buy after Monday with the Championship and stuff, but we can.
Oh, okay.
So for 2 weeks. So therefore, it kind of makes a deal like this Godfrey one. It means theoretically that could go on for 3 weeks, because that's how long's left of the window, sort of thing. So by that time, a deal like you're talking about there with Branthwaite means that he's from a week away maybe from playing again. So I think that's a really interesting one if that's how they look at it. Or whether or not they'd want to keep Branthwaite till January and then maybe give him to Norwich, I don't know. But it's an interesting one, definitely.
Just to confirm as well, the transfer window shut at 11 o'clock on Monday night. 11 o'clock Monday night. So I know we've said a couple of times it's 5 o'clock, but it is 11 o'clock on Friday night.
Monday.
But Monday. I know, I'm just... But, and then, like, it's just, like you've just said there, it seemed like it was only outs, but you're telling me it's ins as well for another 2 weeks domestically. So, because it was only actually an advisory, wasn't it, that date? FIFA or UEFA wanted it done by a certain date, but it was only actually advisory, and obviously the leagues have decided this is the date they want to do it. So, so that gives us that gives us a bit more time to hopefully get players out then as well.
Well, if you're talking about a couple of players we've mentioned, obviously Ismail Sarr, who has been linked heavily to Liverpool, Manchester United, even Everton earlier in the summer. That is a deal that could now go on for 3 weeks, isn't it? With any of those clubs I've just mentioned. Ben Godfrey, obviously at Norwich. Josh King's another one being mentioned with Everton, and so all of a sudden, instead of having 4 days to do those deals, you've got 2.5 weeks to do those deals, which means that it gives Everton a bit more breathing space to move other people out as well. So, 11 o'clock Monday is obviously for European players and for Premier League players moving, because I don't think we can. league after 11 o'clock on Monday.
Yeah.
So it's obviously just the EFL and, trading with the Prem. So gives us another few weeks to maybe strengthen. But ideally, you want to get them deals done as quickly as possible. And to get it done after the weekend would be ideal because you can integrate people before the next Premier League game in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
Sorry, go on. Continue, get onto the comments.
Yeah, I was just wondering why that was on, but fair enough. Agasta Garg says, who do you think will win the sack race? Ollie or Lampard? I don't know.
That's an interesting one because I did a video with a Man United fan and a Chelsea fan yesterday, and this was actually one of the questions was like, were they both happy? And like, even though like the lad, the Chelsea fan Rory, was like, it's his idol, so he was just like, I don't care, he can be there forever. And the Man United lad Flex was like, I know there's better managers, but at the moment Ollie's fine. So it's like there seems to be that little bit of sentiment there for both of them at the moment. So I don't know whether that's with both of them, but I actually think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's not in a bad position. I know he lost his first game of the season, but I don't think he's in the worst position in the world. I think the money Chelsea have spent, I think Frank Lampard's in a much worse position. Obviously they went the cup last night. I think you look at Man United and the blame squarely seems to be with the people running the club rather than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So whereas Frank Lampard's actually had money to spend and still has not bought defenders that can actually defend. So that would be a huge caveat, wouldn't it?
Get people in who can defend, but then again, Pep suffers from that, doesn't he? Dafford Barnes says sign Cavani. Seen this? Obviously, Edison Cavani still without a club at the moment. Being touted. I've seen him linked with Everton, Tottenham, Leeds, Manchester United just over the last 2 days.
Wasn't he supposed to go to Benfica?
What are your thoughts on him? 33.
Wasn't he supposed to go to Benfica?
He was supposed to go to Benfica, and that's not happened either at the moment. So, interesting one.
No, not for me. Not for only because do you know what? Right, if he was 30, and this will sound stupid, and people will just think I'm stupid. If he was 33 and he was like Giroud and he played for a couple of teams in the Premier League and he'd scored goals, then I'd go all day. I'd go all day because he's proven. But I just wonder whether, and don't get me wrong, I think he's a fantastic player and I think he'll still score goals. But a 33-year-old coming in who's, just left the French team and obviously got to the Champions League final, but coming into the Premier League right now for what he'd demand, I just don't think would suit us as a club. Listen, it could suit a Chelsea, it could suit somebody like that. I just don't think it would be the right fit for us right now. If it was Latin, different.
What about United?
Maybe because they've got the Europa League and the way that Europa League is going to fall. Champions League, sorry. The way the Champions League is going to fall with the amount of games, then fine. But I don't think we've got. Listen, we're already someone like Moise Keane. It's like, when's he going to play games? So if you brought someone like Cavani in who demand games, we wouldn't have enough games to cater for him. Whereas if we were in Europe, then yes, you can understand the thinking of Mourinho wanting another centre forward and bringing Bale in, because look at them now. They played last night and they're playing tomorrow night, and then they'll be playing again Sunday. So when the Europa League starts up for them, they'll be playing like every week in that, for the whole of October and whole of November. Every week will be Europa League and Premier League. If we had that, I'd be looking for another striker, definitely. But we haven't got that luxury, so we don't need the luxury of more players. In fact, we're trying to get rid of players. So, no, I don't think he'd be the fit for us at all, where we are right now. We need players who actually, we've got positions we need to fill first, rather than a little bit of luxury here and there around the team.
I think people are just looking and worrying, I guess, if that's the right word, about obviously what happens if Dom, something happens to Dom or he falls out of form or whatever.
Yeah.
you know, and then is it Moise Keane? Is he the right thing? And obviously Cavani's more of a Calvert-Lewin type. Not saying he does the same job, but he's good in the air. He's good with his back to goal. Where Moise Keane is more of a ball in front of him running on. But I think you're right. I think for us, that's not a deal that we could do really. I think we've obviously got Hammers in and stuff like that. We need to marry that up with something else, don't we, to keep it going. Frew and Pinto says, you reckon Ben Godfrey and Holgate can be Everton's centre-back partnership for the foreseeable future if we sign them? I don't know. It's up to them, isn't it? I mean, what you'd have two ball-playing centre-backs who are quick, so sounds good. But then Michael Keane's been in brilliant form. Yerry Mina's strong as well. It's up to what you want as a centre-back. Like a centre-back battle is you want one of each, but you want four good lads who you're not bothered who the manager picks, really.
Yeah.
And I think if you got Godfrey in and he settled in, then you would, and Holgate's fit, you would have four lads who you go, right, I'm happy to go with whatever Carlo goes with, rather than, you know, going, oh my God, we're not playing him again, are we? Because I think, you know, Keane and Mina were excellent at the weekend, and Michael Keane's had a really strong start to the season. So if this is his level now, and this is what he's going to play at, then there's no one can really have any fears over him. And then if you put a bit of pace next to him, if Mina isn't playing well, you know, but it's up to them, isn't it? If you get the good players in the right areas, Ped, it's up to them to fight for that shirt and become the partnership, isn't it?
Listen, if it's a 22-year-old and he can play, he's got the versatility to play in maybe 3 positions, then I see that as an absolute no-brainer. Someone who's already played in the Premier League, and if Everton could try and get him for around 20 million, I honestly think that is just a no-brainer. And people can say, well, what about this player and what about that player? He's 22. Michael Keane's 27, going on 28. Mina's 25, is he?
25, 26.
Yeah.
25, yeah.
Yeah. Then you've got Branthwaite, but then you look at Branthwaite and you could say he's what, 18, 19. So you've got 19, so you've got, you could possibly have 3 years of him gaining experience at other clubs. It's not ideal, but you know what I mean. I don't think you can't honestly say, sit here hand on heart and go, the 2 players we've got at the back now are amazing. Like they're not. It's not like not Koulibaly and Virgil van Dijk playing centre back for us, is it? Do you know what I mean? It's not. And I'm not saying this kid is. I'm just saying that if we can get him in, it gives us options, and I think that's the main thing. And then it gives you options to start looking at. There might be a time where you look at Mina and go, well, you know what, we could get 35 million for Mina. This might be the right time to sell him, or yeah. I don't know. They've got to be proactive in the transfer market. It never stands still. You can never just go. If they like the look of someone, they can go, actually, I think he's better than what we've got, or Lewis he's better than Lewis Gibson. But look at Liverpool at the moment, selling like Brewster for 25 million and selling,
you got 10 for that Hoyven, didn't
exactly,
he?
Yeah. So they're offsetting all the time, and this is what like the likes of Chelsea been doing for years, been going down, looking, and sometimes it works, so that player stays in your team, and you can sell another player for a lot of money. I mean, Leicester have just sold Chilwell for 50 million, and then brought in a Belgium international to play left back. Now they're looking for Fofana to play centre back. That those 2 players they're bringing in for less than 50 million. And that's the kind of cleverness that you need, I think to become an Andy always says it to us. He's like, it's too much sentiment. At some point, Everton have to bite the bullet and sell Luca Dean or Richarlison. I mean, I don't necessarily think like that, because I think both of those players are really important if we want to become a European regular team. But you've got to have that mentality. You've got to have the thought to sell those players, and you can't have this reluctance to sell those players. So that, you can go back. You go back to when we sold Wayne Rooney. If we played ball on Wayne Rooney, we could have got twice as much. But it was actually our reluctance to sell him, that meant that when we did sell him, we got less than his value. I don't care what anyone says, we got way below his value when we sold him. Sometimes you've got to play ball with people and understand all the moves. Liverpool getting rid of Coutinho because they had players there, and then they go out and get a centre-back and a goalkeeper who make him the team they are now. So I think you've got to be... People like Brands have got to be 3 moves ahead of everywhere else. You've got to predict not what's going to happen this season, but what's going to happen next season. You've got to bring in 22-year-olds and put them on 5-6 year contracts, knowing that that's going to take them up to 27, 28. And look at the 27, 28-year-olds you've got at the club now and think, well, there's the gap filled because we've just brought this kid in. You know, it's no point thinking, it's not about the right now, right here. It's about what happens next. You know, keeping your club ticking along, because that's what the top clubs do. They want to stay up the top, but they want to do it now not by bringing in players who are established. I mean, when was the last time Liverpool bought, or even Man City, to be fair, both of them, Man City and Liverpool, even though they have slightly different approaches, Man City don't buy the best player in the world, or they're not knocking on the door for Mbappe, are they? You know what I mean? Like, Man City should be knocking on the door for Man City, for Mbappe. They should be knocking on the door for Koulibaly. They're not. They just bought some kid from Portugal I've never heard of. And that's just me. Yeah, exactly. I'm sure you've heard of him, but I've never heard of him. And yet they paid a club record fee for him. Yeah. Whereas me and my limited football knowledge would have just gone, get Koulibaly. He's the best. Clearly he's the best. Do you know what I mean? So... That's the way football's going now. People are playing.
But he would solve a lot of problems, Koulibaly.
Yeah, he'd solve every problem.
Well, that's what I mean. So even though you're saying you don't know Diaz, the player you're saying they should have got would solve a lot of their problems. So it's a trade-off, isn't it? I guess
the point being is Koulibaly's is a short-term fix, though, isn't it? Yeah, it's a short-term fix.
Yeah,
but a very good one.
Of course, and if you know. What the thing with this, let's finish on Godfrey now, but the thing with the Godfrey thing is that you just mentioned Yerry Mina there. Well, next summer we're in the position with Yerry Mina where we were with Michael Keane this summer, which is we either give him a new contract or we sell him while we can still get money for him. And if Everton get to next summer and Yerry's still maybe in some eyes a little bit up and down, or if Carlo thinks, well, you know what, we've got this is if we got Godfrey. We've got Godfrey, we've got Holgate, we've got Michael Keane who's staying, and we've got Jared Brantwaite. We can sell Yerry Mina for, I don't know, whatever, 25, 30 million, whatever it may be, and put that back in and get someone else. And that's how you do it, isn't it? It's all about refreshing the team, and that's how you do it. Peter Finn, get those likes up if you're watching, please. 700 of you watching at the moment. Thank you very much. It only takes a minute, as take that said. Peter Finn says, big congratulations to former Everton defender Tyus Browning, who was today called up to the Chinese national team for the first time for their World Cup qualifier games. Fair play to him. This is what he wanted to do, didn't he?
No, that's...
David's...
I was going to say, though, but he is actually got Chinese grandparents, hasn't he? Or one? Yeah. No, because just in case anyone thought it was because he got in through the... through the back door because he plays there. Maybe he'd become nationalised or something. He's actually got Chinese heritage. That's brilliant. Fair play to him.
Yeah, fair play to him. In the World Cup, playing in the World Cup, excellent. David says, so get your coat on. Dean Spicer said, is the game only available on the Carabao site? It is available. You can buy it on the Carabao site. I'm sure there's people have mentioned a couple of them in the comments.
It's on abroad. It's on abroad.
It's on in other countries.
It's on in other countries. Say that. Yeah.
Eric Durney says up the Toffees. Anthony, you can answer this one. Anthony says, do you reckon Adam Ola-Luckman is gutted he left the club last year with the manager and the players we have now compared to when he was at the club?
No, because I don't think Adam Ola-Luckman actually cares about anything in football. I don't think he cares about being a footballer. I think don't get me wrong, I don't think he's one of these he's not like an Instagram footballer, but put it this way, he went to Leipzig and barely kicked the ball. And he was at Everton and he barely kicked the ball. What does that tell you about the kid. That he's obviously got some kind of talent, but he's barely kicked the ball for 2 teams. And I know Leipzig are a very good side, don't get me wrong, but he didn't do anything for them. You'd think about Lookman as someone, you go, oh, you know what? Last 20 minutes, let's bring him on. He'll unlock this game. Funny enough, we generally checked, and we used to check all the time whether he got games. Lookman got 4 minutes. Wow, well done. Fulham is probably a really good place for him because he's back in London.
Yeah.
He's back in London. He'll have all his home comforts. He'll probably play, I imagine, and he'll you know what? People will 100% say, I guarantee, once he's played a few games, why did Everton sell him? Because he'll do that Gerard Deulofeu thing of looking amazing on Match of the Day, and you know, pulling out tricks and doing things, but that's not good enough. And if it's only on, for me, it seems with the lad, it has to be on his terms, and that's not how football works. You have to adapt to whatever you need to do for the club, and he hasn't done that. So Fulham's probably a really good place for him, I think.
Yeah, definitely. He's got loads of talent, we know that, but his everyday work has got to improve, and I'm sure Scott Parker will have a word with him about that. He wasn't good enough for Everton, hence why he wasn't ever involved enough. I think Marco Silva really wanted to work out. You could hear what Brands and Silva said about him on the occasions, but next minute they couldn't wait to get him out the club. So that tells you everything you need to know without actually going into anything. But the lad has got loads of talent. And you're right, there'll be games where he's probably brilliant for, and he wins them a game, or he kills some amazing trick. And hopefully for his sake, he will put his head down, knuckle down, and get his football career up and running again, because let's be honest, he scored that goal against City in 2017, and he hasn't done a thing since. He had a little 3 months at Leipzig where he scored 5 goals in 10 games, and he's done nothing since then. He went back last season, done nothing, couldn't get near it.
Don't take Limassol off him.
For him. The which?
Don't take Limassol off him.
He's good in Limassol. He was good in Limassol, but he hasn't really done anything. That's what I'm saying. And for him, he's got the talent. It's frustrating, isn't it, for him? But what can you do? CI3ON says, Donde lo podemos ver en Colombia? I don't know whether he's asking me where he can watch the game in Colombia. Just have a look. It'll be on in Colombia, I'm sure.
It's on like ESPN in America, so...
Yeah, exactly. ESPN Plus, isn't it? I think America. Sure, he's goals got it. Glenn Watson says, Bar's favourite goalkeeper kit. I think this is goalkeeper kit this season. Can't decide which one to buy first. If you're going to buy a goalie kit, I personally would have the black one.
Jordan Blackley, he likes the black one, you can tell already. He's worn it on three occasions, so he obviously likes it. Top,
and I wouldn't. If I was going to buy one to wear or to have, it would be that one, because I think that's the smartest one personally, like. But don't know. Where are we? Samuel Thornley says, evening lads. Joe Larrison says, all right lads. Random Uploads 1987 says, Hope and Kunku plays, decent young lad, will have loads of talent building on game time. Yeah. J.E. Benedetti says ESPN Plus for $5.99 a month is another way to watch it. There you go. What do you make of, a couple of it in the comments here, what do you make of Ross Barkley going to Aston Villa? Seen a lot of Evertonians delighting in it today or whatever, and that's fine if you know. But I actually think he'll do all right for Villa, because I think he'll just be allowed to play. I think Dean Smith will put his arm round him. And I think in that team, I think he'll do okay. I'm not saying he's going to be amazing, but I think he'll do all right. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a good move for him. I think Villa have bought really, really well. And don't forget, they've got a 100% record as well. They've won 2 out of 2.
They won't have on Sunday.
Who've they got? Liverpool.
Liverpool, yeah.
Okay.
No, it's still 4-0 to Liverpool.
They've got they're in the League Cup, aren't they, as well? Still in the League Cup. So they've started really well. They've bought really well. They got Grealish on a new contract. They've bought 2 centre forwards. They've bought another talented centre midfielder who can run with the ball. Takes a lot of pressure off Jack Grealish as well. And he'll play every week. And if I was a Villa fan, I'd be dead excited about what they're doing this summer. Oh, it's not summer now, but I keep on calling it the summer. If I was a Villa fan, I'd be really excited about what they've done. And it's dead easy for us as Evertonians to go, look at Ross Barkley. But, I mean, we all sort of predicted this. But I don't know. He's a player who wanted to chance his hand at a big Champions League club as he saw it. He's won a couple of trophies, I think, hasn't he? He's won the Europa League and the FA Cup.
Cup, yeah.
I don't think he played. Don't think he started in either of the finals. But he went out there and attempted it. And also, let's not forget that he fell out with Ronald Koeman. Ronald Koeman was the what accelerated him leaving Everton. Who knows if he'd been playing every week for Everton, whether he would have took that step to leave Everton, whether the interest from Chelsea would have come knowing that he wanted to leave. I don't know what was behind it, but what the funny thing is that these things tend to happen to us as well. So a lot of the time, we've been the club like Villa who've profited from a player leaving a club, going to a big club and not working out, and then we've picked it up and we've done well out of that. So it's easy for us to snigger, but at the same time, I think overall it'll end up being a really good move for him. It won't, if he wants to play football, he'll play football now. So, fair play to him. It is what it is.
Yeah, definitely. Frew and Pinto says Ismail Sarr to United. Do you think he'd be suitable at Everton if we got rid of some players and he knows the core? I think he'd be very good for Everton, Sarr. We would have to get rid of players to get him, but he'd be one of those. Again, we're speaking about Godfrey there, but Sarr's 22, loads of pace, played in the Premier League, will grow and become a better player. I think him off our right-hand side with Hammers tucked inside would be frightening, but we'd have to get rid of Walcott, Balat, maybe a couple more to be able to go and get him. But if Everton could sum the money to go and get him, I think he'd be a fantastic signing for Everton. I really would. He really would.
He'd be a really good player, really good age, played in the Premier League as well.
Liam Trainer, do you know any sites the game will be on? People are putting them in the comments, Liam. Just keep checking them, mate. Dunrig Gill 100 says hello from Newfoundland. The game is on DAZN over here as part of the Canadian subscription for all Premier League games. They're charging £10 to watch it in the UK. Crazy.
What I would say is though, let me just say one thing, right, about it being people being charged. I know it's bad that we're being charged, but I guarantee if you could not watch the game tonight, you'd be saying, "I'd pay for this game."
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, isn't it? It's like, no, we don't like paying for it, but how many times have we said, certainly last season when we couldn't watch the Sheffield Wednesday game, why aren't they showing this game? Now, maybe a 10 is a little bit steep. Problem with the cup competition, if they said to you at the beginning of the season, you can pay this one fee and you get all the games, it's like, yeah, but what if we get knocked out in the first round? You know what I mean? We've been lucky because we've had both games on TV so far. So it would be, if you haven't, I don't know whether I don't know. I haven't looked because I haven't really concentrated on it. But I'd be interested to know how many games so far, or how many teams in the Premier League have not had their game on TV. So is the teams who have had to pay £10 every time for this? I don't know, but I do. It is good that you can get to see it. Okay, tenner feels steep, but I know if it wasn't on tonight, I'd be going mad, going, wait, why can't I watch my team? So.
At least you can buy it and watch it. Yeah, I'd be paying what? It cost me £20 to go and a five of us. £25 if it was going, wouldn't it? For me and Zach to go. So you get to see it. James says a centre back is the priority before deadline day. Agreed, it is. Joel Harrison says Zuma is decent, but Tomori has far more potential. I think. Yeah, I think you're right, but I don't think they're gonna deal with Tomori. I really don't. It's smacking a bit of Zuma now, isn't it? This of it's just like dragging on. Sophie Gallagher says reckon Keane is nailed on to leave, especially as David Ornstein mentioned it the other day. I don't know whether he is nailed on to leave, Sophie. He's not nailed on to leave on loan. I couldn't see Everton. This is me personally, but I don't see Everton allowing him to go on loan. If Juventus bid for him 25, 30 million, and that's a different question, isn't it? Totally, but I just don't see him on loan. And David Ornstein ain't that great either, as a source, by the way. He's had us signing about 17 players this season, guaranteed, and we haven't signed. I think we signed one of them, which was the Corey. So, Stephen Fell says, "All right, lads, so glad to have found the show from Steve in the Isle of Wight. Welcome, Steve. Subscribe and hit the notification bell, and you'll find the time." Lenny Plays X says Everton have bid 25 million plus 5 million bonuses for Godfrey, according to the Telegraph. Interesting. Done that one, haven't we? Stephen G says not sold on Godfrey. May not have been his fault, but Norwich defence conceded 75 goals last season. Always a worry with defenders from relegated sides where conceding goals is no big deal. Yeah, you can look at it like that, but then Andy Robertson went from a whole side that had conceded about 70, 80 goals, and you know, he's the best in the world, isn't he?
Harry Maguire was in that team as well, wasn't he? And I know
Maguire,
you don't rate him, but he's still an £80 million defender.
No, he's got a big move, hasn't he? And look at Nathan Ake, someone who I don't rate at all. He's gone to Manchester City. I mean, played at the weekend and conceded. Yeah, no, it's all opinions, isn't it? If Everton feel like he's good enough, then that's sound. Carl Morris says, would you offer John Joe Kenny plus cash to get Max Aarons from Norwich? Yes, but 25 to 30. Whether John Joe Kenny might feel like he's a Premier League player. Sigori says, what on earth are you rambling on about? Selling Mina. Some rambling on. We were saying there's a decision to be made next summer on Yerry Mina. Listen, we're saying. Don't think. Don't, just guess what we're saying. Listen. Eamon Russell says, what do you guys think of the Premier League telling referees to be more subjective for handballs?
That's nonsense, isn't it? Because it's either a rule or it's not a rule. This is the problem. This happens, we spoke about this the other day, this happens every single year. A new rule gets brought in, the referees do it to the letter of the law, and then all the media kick off about it, and then the Premier League go, oh God, you better, this is bad for our PR, public relations, we better wheel it in a bit. No, you don't wheel it in a bit. If that's the rule, whether you like it or not, you have to stick to the rule. You can't go picking and choosing what you think is the rule or not. If you say to me in the season, this is the problem with last year with VAR when they were all like, oh, it's up to you whether you go to the monitor, but we'd probably like you not to. So what happened? They didn't go to the monitors. Now this year it's go to the monitors, and everyone's like, see, that's the right decision. This is what does every year we do it in this country. In Europe, they don't do this. In Europe, they stick to the letter of the law, and they wonder why European referees are better than what we've got. Our refs are terrible. They're absolutely terrible. So let's find a rule. Let's look at you can't change the rules now because they've got to go season by season. So let's get through this season and then look at it and start saying, it was the same last season though, wasn't it? Remember the offsides, when we had the offsides all early last season, and everyone was like, this can't go on. We'll get to the summer and we change it. And the irony is, they got to the summer and they didn't change it. They just went, no, it's fine. It's fine. You're offside, you're offside. Well, isn't that what they're trying to do with handball? And I'm sitting here saying it as someone who doesn't particularly like that the ball can just strike someone's hand like the one the one against Tottenham on Sunday. But that's the rule. So to just start saying, oh, soften it. Well, how'd you soften it? How would Crystal Palace feel now if they had a game on Saturday and it struck the ball struck their opponent's hands? I know they had one the week before. All right, well, let's say Tottenham went somewhere. The same thing happened and the reference, no, do you know what? It's just dead unlucky, wasn't it? They'd be like, hang on, you can't be changing or subject or have a different outlook on this. It's this Premier League just drive me mad on these things. They did it with the penalties last year when they were saying if a goalie comes off his line, no, we're not going to check that on VAR. Why? It's the rule, and now it is the rule. Luckily, it's nuts. It's nuts. So leave it as it is, And listen, we'll all be affected by it. I guarantee Everton will have a penalty against them this season for handball. So it's just the way it is, and then at the end of the season we'll have to deal with it. It's not nice, but you can't be asking refs to soften their approach.
No, it is mad. Glenn Watson says a handball's the new dive. If you were a striker and fighting a lost cause in a penalty area, would you be tempted to flick the ball onto the defender's hand on purpose to get a penalty?
To be good though, wouldn't you, to do that?
That's what I mean. But people say this, and it's like, yeah, but are they that good?
Wouldn't that be would that be brought into maybe the? I don't know how you could do that. I could. Would the referee be able to go, you did that on purpose to get a handball?
Suarez used to do it. He was brilliant at it, wasn't he? Just flicking it against people. But don't know. Glenn Watson wants to know who the archetypal Instagram footballer is, Ped.
Anyone who plays for an under-23 side basically is the archetypal Instagram player. Anyone who has more interest in clothes, their car, the Instagram lifestyle than playing, that is basically. And I think our under-23s have been full of them. David Hennon was the man who spearheaded it, wasn't he? David Hennon was the man behind it all. But there's loads.
I think James Maddison will go that way.
No, but he does it on the pitch,
Hennon,
though.
or David Bentley, not David Hennon. Maddison's a good player. Hennon's
the one.
Wasn't at the level, was he? He wasn't at that level.
But that to me is exactly why he wasn't at that level, because he was more concerned with the lifestyle, showing off the lifestyle, the free gear he'd been sent by Nike, what trainees he was wearing, what boots he had, than actually improving and getting his head down and getting into the first team. Do you know what I mean? And because these lads are just, there's too many of them. There's far too many of them. And for me, they're ruining football, because it's like a generation of players who just earn far too much money when they get to like 18 and 19. This is another reason why I want a salary cap to come in. They've got no hunger to play the game. They're not asked. This is why players come over from South America and are dying for the shirt, because it is dying for the shirt. It's like the difference between, you know, having a really poor upbringing and then possibly being poor for the rest of your life, or, you know, beating someone to make it. You know what I mean? It's and I'm not like, they get too much too quick in terms of, like, you know, we shouldn't be looking after people, but far too many of these players now are just not actually concerned with playing football, which is just mad, because that's your job.
It is mad. Ryan Slay says, do you think we can make a serious push for the top four with teams like Spurs, United, Chelsea struggling? I think if we carry on winning, we can. I don't know. I think it's too early, in my opinion, to know where Everton are. I think we've had a fabulous start. We've been brilliant. I think for me, it's key that we're in the running for the Europa League all season. That's the aim. I think Ancelotti said that. I think some of the players have said that. That's the aim. If you can keep yourself in the running for that, and then all of a sudden you're in the running for the Champions League, then I think that's how you do it. I just think you can sit here and go, yeah, well, we're aiming to win the league, and that's what Ancelotti said. That's your first thing. Can we win the league by winning as many games to win it? That's always got to be your aim. I don't think you can say, well, try and finish seventh, because then you start accepting when you lose games of football, thinking, I can make those points up somewhere else. So I think you've got to aim to win the league. But the reality is you've just got to win. You've got to win as many games of football and aim. I think you've got to aim for, Everton have got to aim this season for mid-60s points, and then see where it gets them. I don't know how you can ascertain what you're going for, because top four very much is on at the moment, isn't it? Because we're in there. So
you've got to aim. I mean, you're looking for us this season to try and get 20 wins, aren't you? That's got to be the level. 20 wins, and it is a weird season because fans are not going to be in the stadiums for the majority of it. So it is a weird season. At the moment, I'm made up with the start, but I'm looking to see after 7 or 8 games where we are, And I think once you get a quarter into the season, I think you can start getting a true reflection of where you are, because you'll have played a few of the teams you're supposed to beat and a few of the teams that you're supposed to battle with, and a few teams that are supposed to beat you in from the outside looking in. So I think you get a good idea then, and we'll see where we are. I think if we get to the halfway stage and we are within the top 8 and we're competing, and that's when you start looking at making challenges. So it's I look at it straight away and think we definitely got a better team than we had last season. And last season we were another 4 wins off a European place, I think, was it?
Yeah.
So that's 4 wins, so it's converting.
And we threw the last 4 games away, really,
so it's
didn't we? 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, and so it's converting what you've done, and having 4 wins, and I think that's what we're capable of this season. But that we're watching other teams capable. Leicester have had a great start. Wolves haven't had a great start, but they didn't have a great start last season, so you can't write them off. They might need a little bit of time to get the energy levels back up.
United will be better. Spurs will be better.
And that's the thing. That's the thing as well. It's great going, oh, look at us, we're flying. But, we're only a few points off someone who's only, won 1 game so far this season, aren't we? So it's this, let's get to like 8-9 games, and then we'll start having a real serious conversation about what we want to do this season.
One thing I will say, though, normally, if you get off to a good start, and then you keep adding the points on top of it, you always end up in and around the right areas. I think, like last season, we had a poor start, really, or it transpired over 10 games that it was a poor start. We were then struggling to get up into the higher part of the league. So we just got to keep building. We've a big win tonight. It'd be a huge win tonight, and then a huge game at the weekend. And then if you can win tonight and win Saturday, you go into that international break with a game against Liverpool, then, which is obviously a very, very difficult game. But if Everton were to beat Brighton and, say, draw with Liverpool, for argument's sake, you're talking about a hell of a start to the league then. So we can only really take the next game, can't we? Tonight's a massive game for us. And then Saturday's a massive game for us.
I think the difference with tonight, though, is just to compare. I know if we were to win, we get into the quarterfinals, but I've said before, it's that thing. If we win tonight, we don't have to be juggling the squad all the time after tonight. It's 2 months. It's 2 months then of just playing weekend to weekend, while all those other teams have to play in the week. Teams up generally who are already in those European places. And I know they're trying to build their squads out, but Spurs, Leicester, Chelsea, Manchester United, they'll all be playing European football week in, week out. So we'll have the luxury of resting our players, which at this stage we'd rather be in Europe, but it's a scenario that will benefit us at this moment. So if we can get through tonight and we've got a quarter final to look forward to, come a couple of months' time, then I think that's why I think tonight's really, really pivotal.
Definitely. Zach Smart says full strength for tonight. I think it'll be a strong team. I don't think it'll be full strength, but I think it'll be very strong on the side. David says get the likes up, lads. Joel Harrison said someone missed the like button and disliked the video. Probably a red or someone that's got an agenda. Don't worry about it. We've done that one, haven't we? Blue Lad says, all right, boys. All right, mate. Kevin Milner says, Ped is totally spot on about Lookman. Very poor attitude. Defo thinks he's better than he is, but he expected to play. I agree. Fabio Posada says, I'm from Colombia. Welcome, Fabio. Hola. Wayne says, welcome, Fabio. Where are we? Lynn says, I'm from Dudley. Lynn's always there, isn't she? Lynn's always there. She's a good egg, Lynn. Where are we? Devon Paul Sayers is loving his team from Jamaica. Is right, Devon. Where are we? Go on here. Jack Woodward said Nkunku is definitely playing today and will play all the way to the final. Maybe. Listen, that'd be lovely, wouldn't it? It'd be lovely if you said and Kunku will play every game, Everton will make the final. That'd be. Then we'd all take that at the moment and then see where we are in the final. Stephen G says Villa have played 19th and the 20th place team so far. Looking okay, but it's very early days.
Listen, I am not sitting here saying Villa are going to be challenging for things. I'm just saying they've had a really positive start. They play tomorrow night against Stoke to get to the quarterfinals of the League Cup as well, which, don't forget, they got to the final last year, and they've added really good players. I'm saying they're not sitting here, saying they're going to be amazing. I'm just saying they've had a really good start. I'd be optimistic. I mean, we're really optimistic, so it's good for them.
James Dunlop says, I hope we see Nkunku tested defensively tonight. I think he will be. He looks a good player going forward, needs a test defensively, so we can see whether he can do both. That's correct. Yeah.
I was going to say Yarmolenko, but he'll be on the other side, won't he?
No, he plays off the right, doesn't he? So we will.
Oh, yeah.
Be up against Yarmolenko, yeah. Jack Wheeler says, I remember someone talking about playing Red Dead Redemption 2 about a month ago, so I went back and played it again. Fantastic game. It is a fantastic game. It's absolutely amazing.
Both of them.
Ryan saying, do you think we can make a push? We just talked about that, haven't we, Ryan? The top 4 thing. Nathan B says, who's the next star following Hammers we can bring in possibly next season to continue our top 4 hopes? I don't know. I'm not bothered about whether it's a superstar. I just want it to be a good player. I think what we've seen in what Everton have done so far is where they've gone out and got 3 really good players and put them in the team, and the 3 really good players have just done the job, and we're going, oh my God, look how quick these have settled, but they've settled because they're really good players. So I think if we can build on this, I think Ped said it very early on in this, didn't he? At the moment you're looking and going, we just know we're a better team than we were a year ago. You can just tell by looking. We're a better team than we were 3 months ago. You can tell by looking at them. So if we can continue this progress through the season, it then makes buying in the summer a lot easier. Rather than panicking and going, where do we need to fill? Bum, bum, bum. You can start looking and going, if we get him and him, they will take us up to another level again. And this is something that Tottenham done under Pochettino in terms, okay, he developed players as well, but they had a basis there. Certainly Liverpool did it under Klopp. Got to a level, bought, got to a level, improved players, got to a level, bought again. And that's all we can try to do really, is follow a process. See where we go. Crimson VRS says West Ham do pose a threat, but I can't see anything other than an easy 4-0. Okay. Jonathan Elam says Spirit of the Blues is an awful song and I love it.
It's not an awful song. It's not. If it was an awful song, it'd annoy you. It's an amazing song.
Yeah, well, he loves it. Brad Van Ziel says hi from South Africa. Hello, Brad. Welcome. Anro Dew says Everton fans are so much better than Real Madrid fans. I think everyone's got amazing fans and everyone's got a section of fans that aren't so amazing. Maybe that's the Real Madrid fans have been a little bit harsh with some of the players, but sure there's loads of boss Real Madrid fans. Last of the Corinthians 1878 says Niels Nkunku as a possible left winger if we were to get injuries. He could definitely play there, couldn't he, Ped? He could definitely play a bit further up the pitch because he's got that power and the pace, hasn't he? And I think he started out at Marseille as a left winger.
Yeah, definitely. He definitely looks like a wing back, doesn't he? More than anything, he looks like he's got. As a few people have said, you want to see him tested defensively. I mean, I don't want to see him tested defensively. Let me just say
I
that.
hope he has nothing to do defensively tonight.
I don't think I really want to see him tested. So he looks more of a wing back because he likes to run, overlap, come from deep. So it's whatever the club think his intelligence is to play, if he can play there. We've got an abundance of left-sided players though at the moment. I did the starting 11, and I put Richarlison in on the left, and I put Iwobi on the right, and people are like, you haven't. It should be Gordon or Bernard on the right. And it's like Gordon and Bernard don't play on the right. They play on the left. They both play on the left. In fact, Iwobi's is probably better off the left as well. They all like cutting inside. We don't have anyone else. We've got James Rodriguez, we've got Theo Walcott, and we don't have another one. So we're all right actually on the left hand side when it comes. Don't get me wrong, Nkunku's different to all those players. He's got the pace and the power to be a natural sort of athlete and winger out there. But if anyone wants to know why I picked Iwobi, that's because really it was either him or Walcott, and I think Walcott. I think they've made their mind up, haven't they? That they probably just want Walcott to go now. So, and maybe that could happen in the next couple of weeks. I don't know, but that's so.
Unless they try Gordon out there, but he does like playing on the other side, doesn't he? Alex Dominic says Gordon, future Everton captain. Remember this. Stephen G says Newport County beating Newcastle 1-0 at the moment in the Carabao Cup. And Anro Dew says greetings from a new Everton follower from Colombia, loving the Toffees. Welcome.
Hola Caramelos.
Yes, exactly. Unknown says I'm from Anfield and I feel like painting that big thing in front of me. But you mean the ground or? I don't know. Mark Williamson says whoever clicked dislike was conceived in the townhouse. Okay, Mark, fair play to you. Toothy Orifice says there is no player like James, not at the moment. That's correct at the minute, isn't it? Phil Broder says Miley Cyrus is not happy. She's been knocked off the top of the Virgin chart. Jared Monaghan says I'd go the strongest 11, like James and Alan for tonight's game as well as the weekend. We're looking for European football where we had to play twice a week anyway. Play the strongest 11 and get into second round.
But what I would say is if we were playing twice a week, we wouldn't play the same team every game, would we? There's it's just not possible. You would have. That's the point of having a squad, is that you have to start. You have to play other players. You have to. And I think what he's done in the first two games, because they've been playing against lower division teams, he's give players a chance and said it's yours to. It's almost like, listen. In other years, we've looked at it and gone, there's no. We need to play our strongest team. But I think what he's basically said is, I'm giving you the platform to break into this team if we need you. And a lot of them have done all right. And then it's like a shock that you don't see them on the bench the next game. But if we were playing Saturday, Wednesday, or Sunday, Thursday, whatever, every single game, there's no way we could have the same players every single game. We'd have to build our squad out and get better players in. And that's what you look at the top sides and you see how deep their squads are and how they have players on the bench that you go, oh my god. And it's funny because it goes to the Chelsea thing. We want one of their players, but their manager's like, well, I need a squad for all these competitions. I've got Champions League football, I've got Premier. You want me to do well in them? Don't be selling the players underneath me. That's going to stop me from doing that. He needs 4 centre-backs. He absolutely needs 4 centre-backs. There's no messing about with that. And that's the point you've got to be at. You've got to be comfortable with dropping a player. And I think at the moment, that's what Ancelotti's looking at and saying, I've got to have a backup player here, there, and for the full backs or whatever, because I might need them. So how are we going to find out if they're good enough? Well, we'll give them a game. What it might be tonight is it might be like 7 of the normal starting team, and then, like you just said, and Nkunku, James Coleman might go out the side for John Joe, and James might go out the side, and Alan might go out the side, let's say, and then everyone else is the starting team. So it's going to be interesting.
It is, isn't it? Liam Haffenden says, all right, lads, anything in the Ben Godfrey link? Well, I'm sure there's something in it. I've seen that. They want a permanent, we want a loan. We'll have to just see. Liam, there must be an interest there, definitely. Liam Munro says, what Blake, give this a thumbs down. And Hayley Lee says, a copyright. There you go, probably. Toothy Orifice says, Dean as a centre-back will be a mistake tonight, in my opinion.
That can't happen,
I totally agree. I agree, because if Haller plays, he'll eat him alive in the air. Clay Trainham says, greetings from Nashville, fellas. This week has been a blast so far. Let's keep it going. Exactly, Clay. Fingers crossed we do keep it going. Are we here? Joel Harrison says, which was your favourite goal of the 5 against Fleetwood? for me, the last one was just fantastic.
With Charlison's second.
Yeah, the Charlison's second was a lovely goal. Yeah. You know what? Most of them were, to be honest, weren't they? Yeah. If you think about it, the first one was fantastic ball by Charlison for the header. Great second goal, like you've said. The third goal was a good move, and all right, Richarlison air kicked it, but Iwobi swept it in. The fourth, Bernard, was great, and then the fifth one when Nkunku done the back heel. So I don't know, Joel, a difficult one. That maybe the second one, or maybe Bernard, just because it rose into the roof of the net. And look, boss, where have you gone here? John Ryder said, I think it's John Ryder says Bernard is a quality for 45 minutes. He is a quality player. Robert Fernandez says, hi guys, love your stuff. We need a right side of midfielder. Does Balassi feature if we don't get anyone in now? Listen, I don't know. He's training every day, isn't he? He's working hard. It's up to the manager. You go with whatever Carlo Ancelotti thinks. If Carlo Ancelotti thinks Yannick Bolassi's an option, he'll give him a go, won't he? He hasn't so far, so maybe they're just working on him. Them kind of players leaving. I don't know, but
didn't he say he was standby for tonight?
The which?
Didn't he say he was standby for tonight, Balassi?
So there you go. So it's one of them, isn't it? But I don't know. Where are we? Lynn says, "Buy Diane Garner off us if we go down." He impressed me the other week, Lynn. For you, he really did. His goal was very good, but he looked really bright and lively. You can understand why some West Ham fans were fuming that they sold him, because he did look like, a good player. Winston says, do you think we need a keeper to push Pickford? Yes, definitely. Mr. Holo says, Baz, how's Goodison at the moment? It's all right, mate. It's quiet. It's quiet at the minute, but it's all right, yeah. Last of the Corinthians says, could this be the last chance for Kenny tonight if he plays? I don't know whether it's the last chance for him, but I've always got the feeling, and just that if Everton got a bid for John Joe Kenny, that they would sell him. That's how I look at it. I don't know whether they do it now, because obviously we're getting into the territory now where it's like, what do you replace him with? Unless I'm sure they've got a list of right backs who are available on loan. Whether he phoned Jibril Sid to be back up again, I don't know. All I've seen this free kick last week was went up the stadium. But no, but I don't know. I think what I want to see from John Joe Kenny tonight, if he plays, is I want to see the thing that he was very good at when he first got in the team, and that is flying down that wing and putting crosses into the box, not stopping, turning around and passing the ball back, because he's turned into something that he wasn't. And I don't think that does anyone any favours. His greatest asset for us was he was an attacking fullback. Now, I don't know what he is, because he's not a great defender. He's not great positionally, and he's not even doing what he was good at, which is going forward. I mean, how do you see it, Pat?
He's not the long-term replacement for Seamus Coleman. Simple as that. I don't think he's good enough. So that might dictate it. I don't know who is good enough. I don't know who is the long-term replacement. But I don't think it's him. And I think that's where you have to get to that point, isn't it? Of knowing that and saying whoever replaces it's almost, I mean, we're not quite at the moment where, we replaced Baines with Luca Dino. We're quite there. But it would be nice if we went a season earlier and brought in Seamus Coleman's replacement while Seamus Coleman was still doing well. So there was that competition, and someone could come in and settle into the team, and that'd be nice. I just don't think it's John Joe. I just don't think he's got the attributes that Seamus Coleman's got still. Just that understanding the role, understanding the position, understanding how to play in that position. So I don't know if it seems a little bit late for me to be maybe replacing him if we got a chance to sell John Joe, but I don't know. You don't know. They could have one up their sleeve that they feel like if they got the money for John Joe that they could go out and get right now, but it doesn't seem that way.
No. Antrobus Koi says, hi from Runcorn. If you could change anyone from last week's PL starting 11 overnight, who would it be? Donnarumma for Pickford, if it could. No, it's Stu. I think Jordan Pickford, I think, is a good goalkeeper, but we know he's error prone at times, or his concentration. I think Donnarumma would be incredible. Mr. Dragons 3 says hello from Sweden. Andres Philippe, hello Andres. Hola Andres, says vamos por la Premier Caramelos. Let's go for the Premier trophies. Hey guys, it's always valid to dream. It is.
Yeah. Carlos
Marcus says a question. In the past, Ancelotti was not keen to make a lot of rotation. Does he rotate Everton? He's done it, Carlos, in the Carabao Cup for the first 2 rounds, albeit last week there wasn't as many, and I don't expect there's going to be as many tonight. I think Carlo's gone on record almost as saying he wants 20 players to work with, and that means that there won't be mass rotation. And I think he's right to do it like that, albeit people turn around and say you should have 2 great players for every position. I'm not quite sure that that's true. Obviously, you've got to have enough players in your squad, but I don't think he'll rotate as much when he's got the squad he wants, really. I think he wants a smaller squad. I think he's only really rotated because of necessity. DDA Palmeiras says, you do need an option if James is not available because he can't handle a busy schedule. Unfortunately, his body can't take overuse. It's not that he's not in shape, it's a reality. Well, it is a reality because we can't expect him to play 50 games, I don't think, this season, can we?
But we haven't got a busy schedule out, so we've got...
I think as we go through
but we haven't, though. I mean, that's the reality of it. Apart from December and January, we have not got a busy schedule. I know there's going to be more games dotted around the season to catch up on the games we just played, but we're in a busy period now, and we're seeing that he's not playing. But I think for the next couple of months, it's going to settle down. It's going to be week to week. I think when December comes, yes, we will not be seeing him every single game, but that's for the manager to work out between now and then, and for us to get enough points on the board, and for the team to start functioning in a way that it can get through. It has that default setting to win games. Some games with James Rodriguez, because he's not going to play every game, and I don't think any of us expect. But we're not Real Madrid, we're not Bayern Munich. We will not be playing in every cup competition to the very end. We will not be in the Champions League all the way to we're not in European competition. So I don't think the stress is going to be on him to be involved every single game, because we just don't have that many games, really, in my eyes, that to just make it difficult for him.
Yeah, fair enough. Phil Broder says, loving having the Colombian fans on board. We are, aren't we? We love our Colombian supporters. It's boss. Liam Haffenden says, Baz, if we got offered 50 million to have specifically orange clubs on our sleeves, would you take it? Yes, mate. If it helped the club, yes.
You don't have to eat the sleeve, do you?
Or I'd have to. I don't know whether he wants me to eat one as well. I don't know. Paul Tyson says Spirit has an Oasis guitar type riff with a hint of Beatles.
Status quo.
Scores, yeah, it is. Scorers Club Soccer Break says, hi lads, tough one tonight. Looking forward to seeing a young left back and Dom continue his scoring run. Tubbs MD Tubio says, Bayern fan here, lads. Big James and Carlo fan. Love the channel. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Simon Strauss says, any news on the stadium? Great show, lads. Sitting here waiting for me trailer at 12 Keys Dock. There was that flyby, wasn't there, that was put on yesterday, and it was absolutely brilliant of the stadium. But at the minute, it's Everton put it.
It's in the planning permission stage, isn't it?
The which?
It's in the planning permission stage.
That thing was out, wasn't it, last week, of the any more consultation. If we have another consultation about this,
it's objections, isn't it? It's objections, isn't it?
Objections. So
it's in the objection stage now, because the thing's been changed. So anyone who does anything with planning permission, there has to be notices in the local press. There has to be notices down there, and you have a month. And the club have to advertise the fact that people have the chance for the objections, and the objections will come from the same place the objections came from before the changes, and then they will go to plan permission. I imagine the local council will give it the stamp of approval, and then it will come down to whether the government decide to call it in for them to make the decision. If they've got any sense, if they want to actually have money come into this city and people have jobs under the circumstances, they will just go, it's a big hole filled with water. What are you crying assing about, you bunch of old meffs? Jog down the road, we're building a stadium, and that's the end of it. Get it built.
Job done. Liam Munro says, can't see the pitch, Baz, without the floodlights on. How's it looking? It looks good. It looks like it'll take a stud. There's obviously been a lot of rain. It looks nice. It's doing well. YouTube guide says, greetings from Nigeria. Is Iwobi playing tonight?
We don't know. I don't know. That's the end of it.
Don't know. Yeah.
Hopefully.
I mean, I think there's a good chance he'll be playing tonight, but we don't actually know yet. David Beattie says, do you guys think Gordon will be on the bench tonight or left out the squad? Like the game against Fleetwood. No, will he come on at Fleetwood at half time, didn't he? I think he'll be in the squad tonight, I think. And Tubbs is from greetings from the Philippines. Well, greetings, Tubbs, to you, mate, from the Philippines. Where are we?
Let me just do some Patreon ones.
Yeah, go on, do some Patreon.
Connor said, I really have enjoyed the past month. Twitter, game signing, it's all been great. However, I know we will get a reality check at some point, but I hope it's a long way away. We'll lose games of football. It happens. It happens to everyone. So hopefully not for a while, but we will lose games of football. But it's about the general, how we're generally getting on. That's why I said after 9 games we can have a little look. Jan Vazakli said, would it be possible to get Besic and the likes to take pay cuts and give players to Norwich and Watford for Godfrey and Sarr? Besic, Sandro and Walcott would be good for them. Walcott at Watford would be perfect, for example, and they are going to lose Sarr anyway. Well, there's no way we can make them, so and there's no way we can make those teams take those players. They might have no interest in those players whatsoever.
Sandro's going back to Spain if he goes anywhere, let's be honest.
Yeah. Ben H says, I wonder if we'll see James on the bench tonight. He's had time to build fitness now, and a 20-minute cameo for him late in the game could swing the game in our favour. Possibly. I mean, at the end of the day, in the last 2 games, if you look, Carlo Ancelotti would have looked at the situation and saying, if we need James Rodriguez to win us a game against Salford or Fleetwood, then there's a real issue with the players we've put out. But there is a case for maybe tonight he does put him on the bench, especially with the next game being at home as well. No travelling and all that kind of thing.
Definitely. Let's get them likes up. Let's get to 400, 800 people watching. Thank you. Carry on.
Joe Cody says, do you think sending Branthwaite on loan to Norwich in any deal for Godfrey would be an option?
Spoke about that before, didn't we?
I think it could be an option, but it just depends what Everton want long term, what they want for the player. They might be, if it gets it over the line, maybe, but we'll have to wait and see what comes out. It hasn't been suggested so far by the looks of it. Ruse says, Ped, you got to put the spirit of the Blues over Ya Ding Dong. That's a suggestion I would take under consideration. Denise says, hi boys, stay safe. The trouble is we are all going into this game with the mentality of the last few seasons, i.e. not very confident, but I'm sure the players are very confident. The fans have just got to start believing we can keep the run going. I think a lot of people are confident, aren't they? I think a lot of people.
But I know what she's saying. We do that thing as Evertonians of like, but just we've seen this before kind of thing. But I think she's right there. The players won't be thinking like that. The players will be thinking, great opportunity to win tonight and get into the quarter.
Definitely. Yeah, they meant, and we won't be in the ground to take our mentality into the ground if there is a mentality. So that helps as well.
Yeah.
Gavin says, just bought my £10 stream from the official Carabao site. Anyone watching from here before? I've never watched that site. I've never had a reason to watch that site. I wasn't going to pay, not going to pay £10 to watch someone else's team. Gareth says, I'll be watching this after the game, so I'll either be cursing myself or smug. I predict a comfortable win tonight. Gareth Hughes says, the way Baz is loving Bailey, I reckon he is Sangari rebound crush. That's fair.
I'd have Shah over Bailey, I think, but I would have Leon Bailey, defo.
Keith Powell says, please assure us fellow Blues to stop worrying and enjoying our rapid improvements in the squad and performance. We're on a journey and Don Carlo is driving the train. Took Klopp 4 years to get to the super level. We're only months into our journey. Yeah,
that's a fair comment.
That's as I said, Keith. I think you've got to balance it out. There'll be, we're not going to be able to play. There'll be chances when we'll have suspensions and injuries, and it's not going to be perfect. And it's what happens when it's not going to be perfect. That's when we see the true reflection of what's happening. Keith also says Brands has quietly brought in some quality good youngsters this transfer window. The potential is massive. Up to us to plan their and our future with them having a plan for success. Stuart Thompson says, I love the way our manager has made it clear to the team they improve or they will be replaced. I only wish I could do the same to our Everton shop. I might have those Alan Ball trainers by now. Do not stand up.
That's grim. Mario Ardella Jr. says, hello lads from Colombian in California, love the channel. And Maria English says, love this channel. So hello guys.
Hello.
Back to you, Ped.
Jan says, will Keane get a run out tonight? I remember Dom's control used to be a bit rough, but he's improved because he's playing regularly. I think he'll be on the bench, Keane, personally. Richard Falk says, not one for playing songs when we score, but tonight if we score, it'd be funny if we play Spirit of the Blues. No, I'll play it on the 90th minute when we've won.
95th minute, it'll be.
Yeah, technically.
Our game's never finished like that.
Andrew Hughes says, best ever free kick by non-Everton player you've seen. He says, I love Johnny Method's goal. It's got to be Roberto Carlos, hasn't he?
Carlos was a belter. Method's was a belter, though, for Forest against Spurs.
Remember it.
Underside of the bar, it was a hell of a free kick.
Yeah. Craig Johnson says, if Zaha comes in last minute after a couple of outs, how would you feel about a 1 or 2 year loan of Moise Keane to get his value up? Just an idea. Thanks as always, lads. Loving the Patreon content. Well worth the money.
So Keane back to Juve for a year or so. Wouldn't we just sell him?
I know. People still want Zaha, don't they? It's just that weird. People still out there still feel like Zaha could happen.
Who knows on Monday if Alicia panics?
It is an interesting one. Maz A says, would you take Lamptey from Brighton?
Listen, Lamptey's he looks like a boss little player, but he's more of a wing back. I don't think he was a winger, wasn't he? And he converted him to a wing back. I don't think he's great defensively. So as a right back, he's looked really good for Brighton now. I think the pivot tell you more that he's more suited to the wing back role. I don't think he'd be great at right back. There's Crepin Diatta, who plays in Belgium, who can play right back, right wing back, and right forward. Who's brilliant, who reminds me of him, but he's another one. But
John Washburn says, I think we all need to remember who our gaffer is. The man has been there, done that. He knows how to do this. Yes. Yep. Richard Falk says, an old coach of mine told me 3 things that he really come to like this season. 1, great players always have space and time. Rodriguez is a perfect example. 2, managers do simple things brilliantly. Carlo ticking them boxes. And 3, don't look at the league till you have played 10 games. All that being said, he did coach us to a 22-1 defeat once with 2 players sent off after 3 minutes. Yeah. He sounds better.
All coaches have an issue every now and again. Come on, you boys from Win in Sweden. That's Hello, right. Win. Go on, Ped.
Adam says, I hope we don't see Nkunku tested. Keith Powell says, Nkunku will be up against Bowen tonight, who scored 2 against Wolves and ran them ragged. Should be a perfect test. Thanks for that.
Do you reckon he's not going to play Jared Bowen? Do you reckon Yarmolenko's playing? Okay. But we'll see. Can we get to 400 likes?
Matt Sumner is said, apparently the club have started talks with Palace over Zaha. I'm not sure who said that. And Jay says, do you think if Balassi scored that miss, he would be in the squad for the cup games?
Possibly.
I don't think it really matters.
He played well that day as well.
And Mike says, well, there's the slogan for Bramley Moore. Stop your cry arsing, you bunch of old meths. Put that on a banner.
I think that'd get it done. I honestly think that'd get it done.
Yeah.
Definitely. Michael Winstanley asked if I've ever been to Seville. No, I haven't actually, mate.
No.
I haven't. Have you?
I've never,
is it nice?
I've never had it.
No, I was asking.
No, I'm just giving you my side of things, you know.
Oh.
You know.
All right. There you go. I hate it when you touch these YouTube things and they just fire up and you can't see any of them. Ed Appleton's obviously a West Ham fan. He's done the Al Hammers thing in the thing. Good luck tonight, mate. But hopefully we'll win. Original 1878 original. It's gone. He's deleted it. I don't know why. Keith Williams says, "Good work, you guys. Both do us proud to be blue." Thank you very much, mate. Jonathan Elam says Newport are 1-0 up at the break against Newcastle, obviously. Sean Hegarty says, "Get cooler, Barley. Last day of the window, and we're guaranteed top 4." Barry Walls says apparently a £26 million bid just made for Ben Godfrey. Isn't that what the Telegraph are reporting?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that Jack talk Norwich City?
Yeah.
It's Jack
or Chris, I think.
Well, Jack or Chris are in the comments saying Godfrey will be a great sign.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. If it's Jack or Chris,
well,
let
they're
us know
both lovely lads. Both lovely lads.
Yeah, saying. I know. And I'm not saying they're not. I just said thanks very much.
Do you think they purposely come to this show just to check if we were talking about Godfrey?
I honestly think they did. I think they're thinking,
well, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
Guy Sports News, Everton have bid 26 million for Bengal.
Well, let me ask you a question then too. If it is Chris or it is Jack, are there any players that we have, obviously, you know, not our good players, is there any players that we have that you would like to take? Like Branthwaite, honestly, 19, played back end of last season a few games, really good, looks a really good centre-back. Would you consider taking him for a year or even 2 years? Or is that not what you want to see?
Jack.
Is it Jack? Is that not what you want to see?
Hello, Jack.
Is that not what you want to see for your club? Because it's horrible. I understand this fully, of this thing of like we do it as fans, and I understand why it's horrible. I've seen the Crystal Palace lad going, why would we want half of your team? If they're crap, then what? So would you be interested in any of our players? And don't forget, Branthwaite is only 19, and he looks a really good prospect. You know, would he be someone who would interest you, or are you like no? And also, how's Kieran Dowell getting on as well?
Yeah.
Because you've bought already.
Started off all right, didn't he, Dowell? Let's see if Jack has got time to answer those questions that you've just given. Don Malone says, why aren't we looking at a Campos or Berardi, two of the best wingers in their leagues who'd take us up another level? Because they're probably two of the best prices in their leagues as well, Don. Yeah, that's probably why, mate. Probably just... Campos is very good, but probably far too much money, really. Liverpool saying that. Yeah. There was a bid, but I don't know. Who knows? Who knows whether it's fully official or whatever. I mean, listen, he's, like I've said before, he's a good player and he's versatile. So he'd improve Everton and he'd be able to cover midfield as well. I'll be seeing how well Mason Holgate done when he went in there for a little cameo. So Godfrey could do that as well. So it'd be interesting, but obviously we don't know.
Right, I've just had a team sent to me, right, and this is pure rumour. But the person who sent me said he bets his house that this is the team tonight. So I'm just going to read it out to everyone. But this is a rumour team, and the rumour has not come from us or anyone we know. Someone sent me this in my DMs, right? So this is the team that they've said. Pickford, Kenny, Keane, Dean, Nkunku, Delph, Allen, Sigurdsson, Richarlison, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and James Rodriguez.
That wouldn't surprise me, although I wouldn't have ever played Luca Dean at centre-back, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's the team. This is what Jack says. We certainly need players that are young and hungry and want to prove themselves. I still don't think Farke knows Godfrey's best position. We signed him as a CDM. And he says Kieran Dowell's out until January.
Is he?
Had an operation on his ankle after a heavy challenge in our first league game. Didn't he score in that as well, Jack, the first league game? That's not good, is it?
That's not... That's
very, very
that's typical of his career, that though, isn't it? Absolute typical of his career. That he's
started off all right and he's out again. It's interesting, that. But very disappointing, isn't it? Brad says if Everton get a top-class centre-back, they'll get top 6. I don't know. We'll have to see, won't we? Trust says, what would it take for Carlo to drop Pickford? But who would... Just out of interest, who would you play if you didn't have Pickford in goal? Realistically, Jonas Larsell, who still hasn't made his Everton debut, or João Virginia.
This is an interesting situation because we sat here the week before last and we talked about when Virginia played and then it was like, oh, but then it seems like Virginia's the new number 2, and then he signed his contract last week and then he wasn't on the bench against Fleetwood, so it was like, what's going on then? What is going on? Is he made this a decision on number 2? So if he hasn't made the decision on number 2, neither of them are taking Pickford's spot, are they?
No, not at all. Jack says, he scored on his debut in the cup, so unlucky. It is unlucky, Jack. Hopefully he's back quickly and he does really well for Norwich. Because if you get him, he's got a lovely left foot. It's just getting him into games, that's all. That's what we've found when we've watched him. The game passes him by too often, but he is capable of just putting one in the top corner from 25 yards with that left foot. So there you go, yeah. So how long are we doing, Pedro?
I reckon we do up till the team news comes out.
Right, okay, well I'm going to disappear for 2 minutes, then I'll be back. Because I need a drink.
Alright, hang on, before you go.
Go on.
Hang on, before you go.
I'll only be 2 minutes, but go on.
Hang on. I think you just need to hear this.
Right, on that note, make full screen for a minute.
Ding dong! My love for you! Right, Baz will be back in a minute. Let me have a look in the comments. He's doing the YouTube comments, so I'm left now with... Okay, let's have a look. Jay says Seville is a beautiful city. My sister lived there for a few years. Nice cheap holidays for me. Nice one. He also says Keeper has had a howler there for Newcastle, who are currently getting beat 1-0. Mark says don't forget the women are in the FA Cup semi-final at 8 o'clock on BBC 4. Boys on laptop and boys on laptop and women on TV. Oof. Well, I'll be watching our game and then hopefully 90 whatever minute we've won, flick it over to BBC 4 and watch the end of the Everton ladies team, hopefully for them to win to get into the final of the FA Cup. Hopefully. They're playing Birmingham, aren't they? And they're flying, absolutely flying. Got a really good team. It's mad the way their team and the men's team, I shouldn't be saying their team, our teams have really shot up. Right, Eric says we should put Piau from Villarreal, huge left-footed centre back. Well, looks like we're going for Godfrey, so that's it. It's not going to happen, is it? Let's be honest, it's not going to happen. Let's see. Let me go to the comments on YouTube because Baz has just like abandoned me, hasn't he? Bear with. Keep the comments coming because we're going to stay on till the team news comes out. So I need to see if I can find. I need to find our video. No, here we go. Comments. Right. Lee Reynolds says, alright lads, loving the show as always, great work. Do you think we can sign a winger, and would you like Dennis Buganga. I think he's quality. Never heard of him, honestly. I don't watch football. I watch Everton. I let Baz tell me and educate me, and I let the Piv tell me and educate me, because I just don't have time to watch other football teams. I really don't. Barry Wall says good for both Barkley and Villa, I reckon. Chenla says, who do you think the top goal scorer for Everton this season will be? I think it'll be Dominic Calvert-Lewin personally, because I think he plays centrally now, so I think there's a bigger chance he will score more goals. Phil says the women team did amazing versus Chelsea. They did. Someone just said you could get a copyright claim for playing that song. Oh, come on, it was only in the background. I mean, we could get a copyright claim for yeah ding dong, but we were more singing it. You know, you get copyright claims for singing it. You know, I don't know. Was it on?
I just wouldn't have put it on.
That's the difference in me and you, though. I take risks. I'm like, you know, I'm that guy hanging off the side of a cliff. You're the guy at the top going, use a rope.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So yeah.
What else?
So that team.
Someone said I'm in a proper mood. I'm not in a proper mood. Am I in a proper mood? Baz is the one who told someone off before.
Because he was talking, you weren't listening.
I'm not in a mood at all.
It annoys me when people think what you're saying, but they're not actually listening to the words you're saying. But it is what it is. Let's have a look at these.
Someone's put, how did you get in the changes? This is not the changes. This is our studio. This is where I am. I'm in the studio. Honestly, I'm in the change. I'm in the studio.
Dougie says most of the top six is such a mess. No reason why Everton can't do really well this season. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But
like I mean, it's still early days, isn't it?
The which?
It's still early days, isn't it? I mean,
yeah. We just gotta keep improving. That's all we can do, isn't it? Lee Winstanley says, even in pop pickers, loving the positivity into a quarter final after tonight and top of the league and the chart at the weekend, hoping for some yellow tide deals in and out. Keep up the great work. Timothy Hunt says, is it cold at Goodison? It is, you know, it is. It's getting a bit cold and damp. Yeah. But, you know, hopefully.
As long as you washed your hands when you went to the toilet.
The what?
As long as you washed your hands when you went.
And obviously applied the hand gel.
Of course.
Alan Fleming says, stuck in hospital streaming a game tonight. Alan, hope you get well very soon, mate. Very soon. Enjoy the drink. Enjoy the game. No, because Patrick Farrell's got get me a drink, Baz. And I'm just reading there. Wait, where are we here? Daniel O'Connell's Ray Godfrey. I thought he's done well, to be honest. I think he's a good player. He because of his versatility, he's an interesting player. But you've got to just trust people, haven't you? He's played in the Premier League as well. Like Tom Long. Tom, of course, who was on the show last week, asking about Wesley Fofana. You know, I mentioned Wesley Fofana last week, Tom. I think he's a good player. It's a little bit of a risk by Leicester, but then if he's in and out the team at the start and he develops, I think he's got a good, definitely got a high ceiling on him. Looks like a really good player. He was good with Saliba, wasn't he, for Saint Etienne? So, gone here. Everton are on the new COCAD. Says 1868 Originals TV.
Isn't that like the lad just wears the kit or something? I don't know.
Slim Reaper says, Slim Reaper already said this, but if you want a real attacking threat other than Hammers, just to get him a rest, then get Milo Rashica, top drawer at Werder Bremen. Kane loves Rashica, doesn't he? He's the one Kane really likes. And he spoke to Andy about him. Yeah, he's a good player. He is a good player.
Davy Klassen's trying to get back to Ajax, isn't he? Apparently,
he said, yeah. I mean,
wants to leave Werder Bremen, but he wants to leave. And I suppose that with them selling Van der Beek, I suppose probably be a space for him, and they're always willing to bring back old players, aren't they? So, and he's still only what, 26, 27. So, could be a good move for him. That
definitely. Lee Reynolds says, "Hey Ped, Dennis Bouanga from Saint Etienne is the one I'm sure Ped likes." Ped doesn't even know who Dennis Bouanga is. I like Dennis Bouanga. Ped doesn't know who he is.
Was he in the last Marvel film? Was he the bad guy? Honestly, you give me if you give me a name like the most like someone just like in the background of a Marvel film, I'd be like, yeah, that's Jerry Django. Yeah, of course, we all know who Jerry Django is. But if you just give me a player from France, I'm just like, I don't watch football. I watch Everton. I ain't got time. I'm like single-handedly running this channel. You know what I mean? I've got you know what I'm saying? I leave Baz to do all the scouting with the piv, right? Well, listen, you're live at 5 yesterday. Baz was in 2 halves. Come on. So.
You know what that was? That was my laptop. Can't run OBS and Skype.
Exactly.
Dragging piv in.
Exactly.
When I done it on my own, it was sound. Just saying.
So I let Baz do all the scouting with the piv, and then I just sit back and I go, sound, get them to Everton, and then I'll talk about them. You're
the technical.
That's it. I'm the guy. I'm the guy. That's me. Simon Pegg, Mission Impossible. That's who I am.
Tech guy, you are. Tubb says he watched Sadibo a lot last season. Really solid. He was all over the place. Sadibo's got all the attributes to be a really good defender without a shadow of a doubt, but he leaves his position too much. And I've watched a bit more stuff of him over the last couple of days. Dribbling out of defence, our fans will be having nervous breakdowns. The chances he takes dribbling out. Where are we?
Jay says, Ped.
What
I was just going to say, Jay says, Ped, do you not have to self-isolate like Baz? No, because I was on holiday, so I'm not self-isolating. I can do what I want. I'm going to go for a run as soon as we finish this and be back for the match. I don't have to self-isolate, but because Baz was in the studio when we had the incident, and our studio is now quarantined till Monday on deadline day, I can do whatever I want. So yesterday I went to London yesterday for a bit of side hustle for Toffee TV, but Baz can't leave his house, but I can because I wasn't there. Simple as that. Are you feeling all right? Because it's been over a week, hasn't it? So,
you know what? I actually don't feel great today, but it's not.
It's cold.
It's not cold stuff. It's that every now and again I get a bit of gastritis in my stomach.
Oh, a bit of gristo, yeah.
Out for a few days, so that's what I've got. But I've got no cold flu.
Isn't it horrible though? Because I actually feel a little bit under the weather, just a little bit. I've got a little bit of a sore throat, and it's because of the season. Like last week when I was in Wales on the Monday, it was 25 degrees, right? Oh. And by the Thursday, it was 10 degrees. So naturally, and we were outdoors a lot because we went away and we took the dog, so we were going on beaches and stuff, and obviously, naturally, your body, you're gonna be susceptible to a few to cold. But suddenly your mind starts racing. And even though the symptoms of COVID are a high temperature and a persistent cough, which I've had neither, and I've had neither of those two things or at any time this year, your mind suddenly starts going, oh my God, have I got something? Have I got it? I was on the train yesterday and I was terrified to cough. I was eating these crisps, right? And they had jalapenos in them.
Oh, well, there you go.
Burn me throat. And I was like,
guaranteed cough that, innit?
I was like, I needed to cough, and I just drunk the last of my water, and I'm thinking, I can't cough because everyone will think that I've got something.
Scary, yeah.
It was just these hot crisps.
What's mad is because obviously can't go out. That's what's mad. And obviously because we were kind of in our own bubble, me and you, weren't we?
Yeah.
Throughout the whole thing, so we were able to go to the studio. There was nobody else there. Yeah. So we never really suffered from lockdown at all, did we?
No, till other people come into our studio.
Exactly. And now, for the last, since last month, I've had to just stay in and it is mad. So I really feel for everybody who's had to stay in and couldn't go out. I really do. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. PJ Jarman says, evening lads, would just like to say hello from us Evertonians in Exeter. One question, one signing before Monday, who would you realistically pick or like to see come in? I would love another winger who plays off the right though, and whether that be Leon Bailey. I know a lot of people are big for Wilf Zaha, but he plays more off the left. But Leon Bailey or Ismail Sarr, I would love Everton to get either of those. I think that'd give us another level. I think a totally different option, but I don't know what happens from there, Frank.
I'd just like to say I'd love to see us get rid of like 6 players in the next 2.5 weeks.
Put that squad right down.
Yeah.
Frankie Thompson's listening from the Isle of Man up to Toffees. Evening, Frankie. Hope you're all right. Other people just saying Alan Myers has tweeted me bid for Godfrey.
Yeah. If
Ian
it's the
Clark.
same, I was going to say, if it's the same bid we heard about, it got rejected.
But I think this has got add-ons though.
Okay.
I think the initial bid we heard was 20 million and it got rejected. These are 20 million plus 6 million in add-ons. Gylfi's out on the pitch with Mark Noble, so looks like he's captain. Yeah, Patrick Farrell says you can have Divock Origi for 20 million. No, thank you. No thanks, mate. Slim Reaper says Brentford have a brilliant keeper. Raya is his name, lads. I think he might be 10 million. I'm looking for scout and roll on Toffee TV. Isn't he the one, though, with the free kick last year from Joe Bryan? Done him from about 45 yards.
Yeah.
I think Everton, someone like Strakosha or someone like that who's playing in Italy and doing really well would be one who they could potentially look at. But I just don't, at the moment, I just don't see Everton going for anyone as a goalie this year. I think maybe look at it for next summer. And Daffer Barnes says, we're in Wales. Where you
I went to Anglesey.
I was Prestatyn,
Yeah, and there is no lockdown on Anglesey either, so don't be like saying, oh, you were there last week and now it's all lockdown. No. I was in Anglesey, there's no lockdown on Anglesey.
I was in Prestatyn, mate. There was no lockdown. You had to wear a mask, which you did.
No, there's a lockdown now, though, isn't there?
There's
yeah.
Well.
You can't go to Snowdon or anything if you live there.
Right.
Although we can, but they can't.
I know,
right.
that's
Last minute, there's a minute. Rusa just said, how much would I pay for Zlatan? Oh, I'd give him anything he wanted. Right, the team is nearly here. So as soon as we read out the team, we'll be going basically.
Yeah,
because it'll be an hour to kick off, and I've still got to go and do. What?
Walcott, Iwobi, Pickford, and Delft. Doesn't rate any of them.
Okay.
Ethan says, "Are you fellas?"
Team news. It is Pickford, Kenny, Keane, Dean, Nkunku, Allen, Delph, Sigurdsson, James Rodriguez, Richarlison, and Calvert-Lewin. It was that team.
On the
bench is Lossell, Mina, Decore, Iwobi, Bernard, Coleman, and Davis.
No Gordon. Did you say?
But I heard before. I heard before that Anthony Gordon was sick.
Okay.
So
is the Moise Keane on the bench?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, he's not.
Moise Keane's not on the bench.
Moise Keane is not on the bench.
Is Yerry Mina on the bench?
Yeah, he's on the bench.
But no Moise Keane.
No Moise Keane. No forward on the bench.
That's a strange one, isn't it?
There you go. Strong team, but also it's controversial because interesting because Dean's playing centre back. So there you go. We're gonna have to go. You're gonna have to sort that out amongst yourselves because we've got things to do. I've got to go and do a 5k run right now before kickoff.
Oh yeah.
Because that's just the way I roll. That is just the way I roll. So thank you for watching. We'll be back tomorrow on Patreon. If you want to join us on Patreon, the link is in the description. We do this every day. In fact, Well, we don't normally do it on a Friday, but I'm actually thinking I might start introducing a Friday show because I can cope with this thing at home. So every day we may be doing live shows, but we do them at the moment anyway, Monday to Thursday, live over on Patreon. So if you want to join us, click the link in the description. And see you all later. Bye.
Bye.